Welcome back to the Scarlet Tea.
And have a cuppa, the podcast.
Yeah.
We're joined here by an idiot
And I'm
that
here.
happens to be dating the other co-star.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description of me. I won't dispute that. I've been brought on to boost ratings as it turns out that audience scores with the hosts have been really negative, and it turns out the listeners do not like the personalities of the hosts. So I've been brought in for your enjoyment. So,
Bold of you to assume we have listeners.
you will after today.
Hopefully. If we do, you're more than welcome to come back.
Who says I'm not planning a takeover?
You're more than welcome to. The amount of fucking work we put into this shit. Saying that, you don't have the money that we do.
Yeah, that's true. You're kind of broke.
All the more effort I can put in.
Okay, so yeah, this is Have a Cuppa. Scarlett, what are you drinking today?
Okay. So I'm drinking oolong tea. Oolong tea, right? And because it's the same oolong tea I used to drink every day in like grade 12, and in grade 12 it would like last me the first period that I had, and the first period was always math. Now that I'm drinking it, I just think of like math.
I heard meth then.
Math. So I just like, if I become anxious, it's because I think I'm gonna have a test in an hour. So cheers.
You are. We're going to test you on this podcast as soon as we're done. So. Idiot, what are you drinking?
Well, I rummaged through my cupboard and I found some tea in a box labeled Scottish tea. And it didn't have a string or any description of what the flavor is. And it tastes pretty fucking bitter, and I put like 3 tablespoons of brown sugar into it. So
Tablespoons?
Oh, actually, no, they were teaspoons. But that's
I was
like,
gonna say.
so that's like 1.5 tablespoons.
It's not
of
a
brown
cup of
sugar.
tea, that's a cup of sugar, is what you're drinking.
Even if it were a cup of sugar, that wouldn't be a bad thing. But it's pretty bitter.
It's not Yorkshire tea, that's why. Yorkshire tea. Or, you go full on and you get what I'm drinking, just PG tips. Surprise! It's not like it's the only thing I fucking drink.
It's the only tea you fucking have.
That's why. I mean, I technically drink another one when I'm at work, but...
Because
I don't know
we're not gonna refer to my boyfriend as the idiot the entire time. Matthew is his name to say.
Yeah, because that's
True,
technically
true.
not his name at the same time.
It's
Hey,
not
hey,
his
hey,
real
hey,
name.
don't
I didn't know
confuse
what
them.
he wanted to be called, so I just referred to him as the idiot.
I just go with Matthew. How do you want to be called?
God, Jesus, Christ, any, you know,
Satan.
any powerful name,
As
You know what,
someone with a
even
god
reverse
complex, that ain't gonna happen.
Reverse tables, Satan, Lucifer, all these powerful names.
Beelzebub.
I've been called every single name now.
Big
obviously.
Joe.
Big Joe.
Big Joe, that's a new one.
We're off to a great start.
Yeah. And for those who are new, I'm Scarlett, that's LT,
Sup,
and my boyfriend is whatever you want to call him.
the idiot.
Big Joe.
Big Joe.
You want to go into our first topic?
Yes, so this is the April podcast.
Yeah.
And as such, it is International Siblings Day at some point. I don't know when. I didn't look. I just know it's there. So our topic for this month is siblings.
There's actually a
Yeah, there's
different
another day,
in
but
April
you know,
as well.
no one really
420.
cares about it.
420.
Yeah, that too. 420. 420's in that.
Oh my god.
No, but it is.
Did you know 420 is actually Hitler's birthday?
It is. It's also my dad's birthday.
It's also the day of the Columbine shooting.
Oh, is it?
Eventful, very, very eventful anniversaries.
Not only a joke, it's a very serious date.
But no, that's not April's great.
It's
All those
also.
things
no,
just
I think
add
I
to
pretty
the
much
greatness.
summed it up. No.
No.
It's
No.
also.
No, listeners. April is a great day because that's my birthday.
Yes.
Therefore, mark
The
your
entire
calendars as
month
Big
is your
Joe's
birthday.
Put it down. Mark a pen in it. Big Joe's birthday. You're gonna need to celebrate because April 3rd, it's gonna be a blowout. I want everyone Everyone to I don't know if you can comment on this thing.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know how
send
that
you a
works.
birthday card that just says nobody cares.
That's so
Well,
mean.
you know, my audience cares. My avid fans who've
audience?
known me for about 3 or 4 minutes now. They're
6,
all gonna
actually.
be 6.
6.
There you go. Even they've grown to love me even more.
Sure they have. Sure they have.
Vienna.
So fans, just
But yeah,
send
the
some
topic.
happy birthday wishes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, the topic for this month
April
is
10th.
siblings.
Yeah, April 10th is International Siblings Day.
Alright.
And we just all happen to have siblings, so...
Yeah, in
Cheers.
different dynamics, because I'm the youngest of 4, including me.
Yeah.
You're the oldest of you and your sister.
Yeah.
And he's got a really fucking all over the place family, last I checked.
Oh yeah. But I'm the oldest, so that's what matters.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
Hey,
what
2 of
that
us are
is.
the eldest. That makes sense why we actually weirdly get along.
Oof. I mean, just... I feel like because I have a sibling, it's easier to write siblings.
I think, yeah, that goes for, like, every writer. If you already have siblings, then you're good at... But again, it's like, it's writing that sibling dynamic. So I probably wouldn't be as good as writing an older sibling as you would be. Because I don't know what goes on in my sister's head. And all I know is that we have a very weird relationship.
I mean, like, how would you make a strong sibling in your guys' opinion?
Make them their own person first. That's something I notice happens a lot, is like they have siblings and they're only there for the sake of either having a sibling or like they die at some point. When it comes to like writing strong siblings, you need to understand that the fact that they're siblings isn't what makes them a person. Like, I'm not around for the sake of my brothers and sister.
Yeah.
As much as I know I have an influence on them, it's not like what has made me who I am. But that's something I've just realised now, is actually the older siblings have more of an influence on the younger siblings than vice versa.
Yeah.
Because I know you have quite an influence on your sister, and I know she has quite an influence on you, but that's because of your dynamic.
Yeah.
Because there's just the 2 of you.
Yeah.
But with me, my older sister had more influence on me than I think I ever have on her. But then again, my brothers have had way more influence on me than she did, so I don't know. Matt, do you want to chip in?
Well, I'm not too fluent in terms of writing, but I take an interest in plays and things like that and scripts. So in stuff like that, usually I look to justify a character being there, which I mean, you know, sometimes you just want to have a sibling for the sake of having a sibling, but you got to look at how they affect the main character, or whoever they are sibling to. So if they're just there, they still will have to have a purpose, and I think you got to make sure that you keep that focus in terms of their character comes back to that purpose. You don't want them to be all over the place as a character, I don't think. And I mean, since you want to have a level of realism with it, so if I were to write a sibling, I would say, okay, well, how is this sibling affecting and shaping the character? So if it's a younger sibling, let's say, how is the older character going to try to maybe be a role model to the younger? What are they going to be doing throughout the story, throughout the play, throughout the whatever, to be carrying out that focused idea? And the same could be said for a younger sibling. How are they going to be trying to maybe impress their older sibling as a simple idea? Obviously, it could be more nuanced than that, but you know, I think it's just a matter of you don't want to get too blurry with the reason that there is a sibling, or where the idea to put a sibling in comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I've just realised? I fucked up earlier on when he said that he was an older sibling. For some reason, my dumbass brain thought that made us similar, even though I'm a younger sibling.
Yeah.
And my brain has only just clocked that.
I clocked it in when you said it. I just didn't feel. I felt bad.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to correct her.
I'm a fucking moron, alright? Just don't question it. Alright, this is my dumbass brain not paying attention half the time.
But
That's
like,
what makes you the younger sibling in this dynamic.
Yeah,
but here's the thing.
yeah,
even
I'm
though,
the young idiot.
But like, even though me and him are both older siblings, my dynamic with my sister's completely different with his dynamic with his. You know.
Because his are half siblings, aren't they?
Well, half siblings, and they're considerably younger as well.
Yeah.
Like they,
Mm.
and they also grew up together. I didn't grow up with my younger siblings who are closer to my age, so I don't have that same dynamic. But dynamic I have is more of like this like idyllic older brother figure, because that's the image they have of me. Whenever they see me, it's like, oh my god, it's my big brother. You know what I mean? Like
Do they actually have that, or do you think they have?
Well, it's not. I wouldn't say idyllic, but it's like, you know, like
They have a better image of you than most.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't. They have an image
Like a
of me
respected
like
distance.
Yeah.
I guess.
I know they think of me like I'm like Superman. You know, they're all over me. They want me to give them piggybacks. You know, carry them all the time because I'm tall and you know, and they like to see me.
Wait,
I
so
don't
how
know.
young
It's hard
are
to
they
describe,
compared
but
to you?
The oldest one compared to me would be probably about 7 years younger than me. I'm wait, okay,
Damn.
they're
So they are young, is what you're saying.
Yeah, because I know your sister
Yeah.
that lives with you is like 3.
oh she's going on 4 in August.
Yeah.
So, but my
Aw.
oldest younger brother.
That's the same age as my niece, I think.
You have a niece?
I'm a terrible aunt. Yes, I have a niece.
Jesus, you're fucking old.
I'm 22.
Jesus, you're fucking.
I have 3 older siblings.
Jesus, you're fucking old.
How old is like your oldest sibling?
She's 30 something.
Huh?
And yes, I'm a terrible sister as well. I don't fucking know how old they are. This
That
is
makes
right.
it
So this is this leads us into the next thing. Is like a lot of siblings are different.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to see the different dynamics in like how different siblings look at each other and how they react to each other. So with Matt, he's got younger siblings that are young, which
Yeah.
means of course they look up to him in that sense because he is the older figure.
Yeah.
And they're young. They're not at the stage where they're like, oh wait, no, he's just an idiot like the rest of us are.
You listeners
you
can't
too.
see, but I'm flipping her off right now.
He does that a lot. I'm used to it. But for example, with what was my point? With Scarlet.
My sister doesn't look up to me. If anything, we're
No.
more equals,
That's
even
'cause
though
you're a
she's like
pushover.
5 years younger than me.
Yeah, but then again, yeah, it's just been you two, and
Yeah.
also you've had the whole like you've got the like most common dynamic I think it is where it's like 2 of the same gender in the same household with parents who had the first child and obviously raised them to be like perfect the first time round, and
Yeah.
that tends to be like the psychological thing. And then the younger child, which is the like we pretty much hit it on the head the first time, the second one we can be more lax.
Yeah.
So, and then you get dynamics like me and my siblings, where it was number 1 had a lot of pressure put on her, number 2 had pressure but a bit less, number 3 had a lot less but turned out better, and then me, who came out of nowhere and surprised both of my parents, and they were like, well, we fucked up. By the time I left, I was fucked up completely. And if my dad is actually listening to these podcasts, hi, I love you. But it's always interesting to see like the different ways that siblings look at each other.
Which kind of sucks, considering the fact that I can't really say much about like other novels, but the novels that I read, like, they barely have any siblings, let alone like family.
Yeah. And even if they do have siblings, it tends to be really cliche. Like, it will be one other sibling, and it will be the dynamic of either they hate each other or they adore each other. And, like, there's no real kind of merge of that. Because as I think I was trying to get to with my earlier point, which I never got to, is the fact that, like, my family considers itself really close-knit. So
Yeah.
we're normally really close with each other, and if we're in the same room, it's just madness all round. Not in a bad way, but, like, we're all insane.
Yeah.
But if you looked at us from a distance, the fact that there's a lot of things we do, and half the time we don't talk to each other, and we're fine with that. A lot of us have moved away and done our own things, and sometimes when I talk to like one of my brothers about one of my other siblings, they'll have a bunch to say, like a bunch of things to complain about. Now that could also be because we're British and we're very good at complaining.
Could
But
be.
it's one of those like dynamics where it sounds half the time like we hate each other, but at the same time we do love each other.
Yeah.
And it's a weird kind of mash.
Yeah.
I think I know for a fact as a child I've never held any of my siblings as a role model. Because I know that none of them know what they're fucking doing.
I don't know. Personally, it's kind of hard to think of a child that's 5 years younger than you as a role model.
Yeah.
Can't see it.
But this is the thing as well, is like in books, the main character tends to be the older sibling as well. Like if there is a sibling, they tend to be the older one. Or if they are the younger one, the older one is very kind of distant,
Yeah.
which isn't normally the case, because I mean you're not distant with your sister.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact my brother's had a huge impact on my life, because I pretty much grew up with my younger older brother.
I mean, it depends, right? Depends on the dynamic. Some people could be distant. I'm more looking at it in the fact of like, I feel like a lot of authors are like, oh, there are too many characters, so screw the family type thing, where they just
Kind of harsh.
it's kind of harsh, but at the same time it's like I get why they do it in a way. It's like if I do have a sibling, like Matthew said, it's one of those things of, do they matter to the story? Do they matter to the protagonist or whoever? Are they going to impact them in any way? No, then they don't need to be that close.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I guess in the same way, like, we have that in our book as well, because you have characters that do impact, like, Manda impacts Ginny, and Steffi comes into the story later to impact Chester.
Yeah.
But then if you look at it, you've got Levi's sister, Susan, who doesn't really impact the story so much as she is there, and she is very much part of his life.
Yes.
But, like, she doesn't impact the story, so we don't really see her.
It's one of those where if you want to have it, I do recommend putting it in a novel, because it is interesting to see siblings fall apart, siblings, come back together. That's another relationship at the end of the day. It's interesting to see how they react, what'll happen, but I feel like romantic relationships have just been placed higher than any other type of relationships in just like most media, really. So if there's a brother, then they're not seen, or just overall.
Or they're hugely overprotective to kind of become an obstacle.
Yeah. Or and then there's like, if there's a friend, then the friend is like just there for like a bit of advice at like the midway point or something like that.
Or again, they're an obstacle.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it would be interesting to see more kind of like them being active, not just like on their own standing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think one of the things I have to say leading through to the next point of things to avoid when writing siblings is don't fucking romanticize a sibling. I don't care if they're half siblings. I don't care if they're step siblings. Don't fucking romanticize it.
Sweet home Alabama.
Didn't that happen in like Legally? No.
Because that happened in the Cassandra Clare ones, wasn't it? That's her name, right?
Yes, Cassandra Clare did.
Because she originally wanted them to be actual siblings.
Yeah, she originally decided, you know what, I want to be. They should be actual siblings, and then the publishers, they're like, I don't want to put that in a middle grade young adult novel. I'm not gonna put that in there. She's like, okay, they'll be like not really siblings. She's like, okay, sure, fine.
Sure.
And like, even though the thing with that was, even though they were obviously siblings, like they both knew they were siblings, and they still had that like romantic chemistry.
Yeah, because I think so. This is like one of those like confession things, but I know that I had a book that I first wrote when I was like really young, where I had a character have a crush on another character, the guy, only to find out later that they were half siblings.
Mhm.
But the difference is, as soon as she found that out, the crush went out the window.
Yeah.
And that kind of situation is alright, fair game, because that's how it would be. Like, if you did accidentally wind up having a crush on someone and then finding out later that you were related, it
Yeah.
stops. Like, you just go, nope, I'm not going down that path.
Yeah. I don't know, some people have incest fetishes.
Yeah.
It
Some people are into it, but
any things to avoid, would you say?
Oh, me?
Mm-hmm.
I guess just like, I mean, like there is a dynamic with that at work, but you can get tired depending how it's done.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
personally get pretty sick. I mean, because you have to be really familiar with it to be able to get that sort of bully love hate relationship of a sibling down.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that with your siblings, being able to write it is not. It's just gonna come off to anyone who actually knows how that is very poorly. And
Well, I think the thing with, like, bullying relationships is, like, there's a certain point where it just becomes abusive, and, like, that shouldn't be seen as okay when it comes to writing.
Yeah. Any relationship, if it gets too abusive, it's yeah.
Yeah. There's bullying, and then there's teasing, and then there's just being a dick. Like, my brothers, I wouldn't say bullied me, but they did the whole kind of, like, I don't know, we had, like, play fights now and then, but that was, like, actual, like, we were messing about, that was about it.
I mean, a memory that I have is like my sister on the floor crying because I did something, and me just being there like, no, don't cry, don't.
It's that immediate switch that you get, like, when it goes from being like, no, you just stop it, and then as soon as they start crying, they're like, oh shit, I screwed up. But yeah, no, I think the only reason it, like, becomes serious bullying is, like, well, I wouldn't say serious bullying. The only point when it becomes, like, not a sibling thing is when, like, something serious actually gets itself involved. Like, I don't know, either, like, you're having a serious problem and you're trying to talk it out and they don't agree with you, and then an argument breaks out and it can lead down that road. I don't know if any of this makes sense.
Kind of.
It's one of those, like, the only times I've ever had serious arguments with my siblings are when, like, it's been a serious decision or, like, some kind of, like, life choice, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it tended with me to be me arguing with my dad. That was only because I know that one of my brothers was the favourite, so...
Yikes.
All of us know it.
Yikes.
The only one who doesn't accept it is my dad and the favourite child.
Yeah.
Well, you'd think that your parents have favourite as well, don't they? That is always a thing I think happens in siblings, is they each believe that one of them is a favourite.
If anything, the one thing I can say from being like an older sibling is you start sort of getting jealous or having like envy towards the younger sibling because suddenly you're out of the spotlight and it's all about them now. So that he's shaking his head, he knows what's is this weird thing where like this weird jealousy comes in where you have to either help with raising the other sibling. It's a weird thing that happens.
It's a really curious thing that you're saying, because as a younger sibling, mine was always the other way around. I could have sworn that, like, my dad paid more attention to, like, my older siblings who were going through things, like, for the first time. Like, moving out, going to uni, all of these things that they were doing, the awards that they were winning, and then there was me. But then that could have just been because I was a fucking failure through most of my life. Like, as a younger sibling, like, in our eyes, the older sibling gets everything first, and that kind of becomes a jealousy thing in return. So I know that it's definitely more lax for us, rules-wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's weird. That's a weird, interesting thing.
I'm just like saying from like when my sister's born, that was one of the things that happened. That sort of like jealousy of like, oh, the entire family's giving her attention. I'm just like here now. That's about it. I'm just another person.
Yeah. Okay, on to the last thing then, while we still got time. Any favourite siblings in books that you can think of?
Favorite siblings? See, this is what I mean on like a lot of books don't really have siblings, so it's hard to
The only one I can think about, but then again, I don't like the sibling dynamic between them, would be the Hunger Games. But I know that there is a sibling dynamic, and it plays a lot into the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously it's the older sister helping out her younger sister and protecting her, because she's like, I know you couldn't do this, but I potentially could. But then again, I just don't like Prim. So.
I would say, like, the Blood Red Road that I talked about before, it was an interesting sibling dynamic on the fact of she had a younger sibling and a twin. And the twin gets captured or kidnapped, the father dies, something along those lines. So she's stuck with the younger sibling, who she resents because she believed that the younger sibling killed their mother because she died at childbirth. And, like, seeing them sort of build that relationship. I also just watched Brother Bear today, so now that I think about it, that there as well.
That's a cute sibling relationship.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're not actually siblings, like the younger one. But then again, the older bear does actually have brothers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, the older brother dies. I completely forgot that plot point. I completely forgot that plot point until watching the movie.
I always remember watching that film and playing the game at the end where you, like... Do you have the DVD version of it, or is it on... You just watch it on Disney+.
I watched it on Disney+, yeah.
Yeah. If you have the DVD one, it has one of those, like, games you can play where you answer several questions and they tell you your totem. And I think
cool.
mine always got a mix between either an eagle or a goddamn fish.
Go figure.
I'm an eaglefish. I'm a merbird.
I mean, they're like flying fish. That's a thing.
Yeah, but they're still just fish.
Yeah.
They just happen to be in the air a long time. But yeah, anyway, shall we move on to our game now?
Unless Matthew has anything else to add.
It looks like he's fallen asleep, not gonna
No, I just never have anything to add.
Oh.
think of something.
No, thank you. Just because you want me to add something, fuck you.
Alright, well, moving on. What books do you like with good sibling dynamics? Or films, or plays, whichever.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, since, you know, I'm a child at heart, both at heart and in age, but, I think the Dire Wimpy Kid series of films, I mean, as childish as the source material can be, the movie is actually a lot of heart, not serious writing, a lot of, it's not played in a childish way. They treat the relationships in the movies with a nice level of seriousness, and I think it goes a long way when you're watching it. For example, the sibling dynamic between Greg and Roderick, his older brother, is done really well.
Yeah.
And I think it's especially done really well in the second movie, because you see Greg become close to his older brother, and they start to really grow a bond. But then they have a situation where Greg's reckless and their trust's broken, and it's treated with care. I would believe this is how a person reacts when their trust's broken, and when a sibling, when a younger sibling lets you down, and when a younger sibling is looking up to an older sibling and feels like they disappointed them, it comes across seriously, and I think that adds weight to the the very climax of the film where Greg ends up sacrificing his
life. He jumps into a volcano.
Oh. No, wait, I remember now. He tells his mom that he's going to perform with Rowley for the talent show in order for her to let Roderick perform with his band. And you believe the sacrifice, because that's something, like, you would sacrifice something you really didn't want to do if it meant you can repair that bond you had with
Yeah. I mean, I remember reading some of the books. Because I know that there's only 2 books so far that I've been able to comfortably read more than once, and the Wimpy Kid series, for some reason, was one of them. I'm not sure if that was also because I was stranded at someone else's house, and that was the only book there that I could read. But I know that I haven't fully seen any of the films, but I know I remember seeing snippets of it, and I know like the rough synopsis of one of them. And I think there's definitely a stronger kind of sibling dynamic in the films than there are in the books. In the books, it's more played for laughs, the kind of the dickish older brother.
Well, first off, you have to watch the first three films. Snippets really won't do it justice, especially when it comes to the second Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie. Sure, you have that dynamic. He was that sort of atypical, dickish older brother, but in the second movie, they really turned it on its head. And
Haven't they made a remake as well? They've made a remake, haven't they?
Yeah.
Because everyone got really annoyed
the
that they
fourth one.
changed the actor of Roderick.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I agree, because the first Roderick was cool.
the actor who plays Roderick is actually he's from Toronto.
Oh, is he?
Really? All I know is he was hot, that was about it.
He's still hot. And I think if they were going to recast everyone, they made a mistake. They should have just rebooted it. It doesn't make sense to continue where the story left off with completely new characters. That was really what I had a problem with it, because they tried to just pretend there was never 3 previous films with different actors who all nailed the performances, and it just seemed like a cash grab. A late cash grab.
I don't think any of the original actors were in it, right? It was completely recast.
No, none.
But I guess, like, because it's been a while since, like, the first lot, so a lot of the younger ones, especially with, like, child actors, that tends to be the problem.
But both Greg and Riley grew out their roles by the time they went to make the fourth one. If they were going to make a fourth one, they should have done it or they should have just called it quits after the third one, because they were old at that point. And if they were going to end up making a new series, just reboot it. Just reboot it with a new cast. I don't think anyone would have had a problem.
Why not just reboot it with, like, the similar kind of dynamic but new characters? Because then you can change the full cast and you've still got the whole, like, setup of the books. And it's, like, based on the books. And then it might work a bit better, but I don't know. I think I've just...
Well, I think definitely they don't have the...
Yeah.
No, my Wi-Fi is terrible, so I was lagging out. But I got the gist of what you meant. But
complete silence. I was like, okay, no, never mind then.
No, I think they would have never done that, because then they don't have the. Well, they're not going to have the audience draw of the tape, because people watch a Diary of a Wimpy before the fact that it's a Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie, and I think that's just start from the beginning again with a new cast, and I think everyone would have been fine with that.
Yeah, they might do better making it like a TV series instead of a film, and then like it's much easier to keep up to date with everything, and then you can watch the cast grow up at the same time.
Yeah.
I think the only thing stopping that would be the lack of source material. Like, I don't think you could string out the books.
Really, there are a lot of books in that series.
Yeah, but I mean,
there are a lot of books, but past like the 11th or something. I think that was
still 11 goddamn books.
True, but you got to remember they all. No, you probably could go show out of it. I don't know.
I know that shows like make less money, so a lot more people are, don't like it. I know with the Divergent series, they were gonna make the last novel into 2 movies, but then the first movie didn't do as well, so for the second movie they were like, oh, we're just gonna make it into a show, and all the actors were like, no, I'm gonna get paid less and not a lot of people are gonna view it. Why the hell would I do that? And so
I think it's very dependent, because some TV shows make a lot more than films, and some films make more than TV shows.
It's
just
risky.
Depends. Yeah, because I know the Game of Thrones one made quite a bit.
I think making a show. Yeah, I think making a show would have been smart, because you could have kept the cast and mentioned them as voices. And, well, I believe they are planning on making a show out of the book and like animating it. And that way, the original cast, because no one's gonna recognize the voice anyway. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Just make an anime version. Anyway, shall we move on to our game now then?
Yes. Go ahead and explain it.
Because it's always the easy bit. Right, so essentially our game for April is a game called Breaking News. And hopefully Matt is good at his improv skills. Scarlett's told me that he is, so I'm
I
holding
met
her to
him
that.
in drama. I'm hoping.
That means he's good at drama. That doesn't necessarily mean improv. So, the aim of the game in Breaking News is we start off with an anchor person who is, obviously they do the intro, welcome to the yada yada, I'm such and such with such and such and such and such. And they start off with a breaking news report. Then they cut to the reporter who has to then report on that news report. And the news can be anything. It could be a volcano exploding with cats. It could be a surfer that got rescued by a velociraptor. We don't goddamn know. But the reporter has to continue and report on that event. And the reporter, basically it works like hot potato, where the reporter then passes it to the next person, they can pass it to a correspondent, they can pass it to a witness, or they can pass it back to the office and make up a completely new story.
Yeah.
We then basically just continue passing it back to each other, and we can do it in a circle, or we can just do it where you say the name and you pass it to that person. So...
I don't know if you've gotten any of that.
Mine is a Spanish. I absorb.
Better than mine. One of the things we can do is come up with our reporter names or just make them up on the spot. That's up to that. Yeah, I don't know how you want to play it.
I don't know, because the issue with the circle is, like, depending on whose computer you're, like, if, because for me it's you,
because I'm in the
me.
middle.
Yeah, you're in the middle, but for me I'm in the middle, so that's why it's like.
In which case, do we want to do by names then?
Yeah, that would be better.
Okay.
Yeah, that's more improv.
How long do we want to do this for? 10 minutes? 5 minutes?
Yeah. Let's say that you've got to report on a thing for a minute, and we'll each do it at least. Should we say 3 times?
Yes.
So basically, like, I'll pass it to you, you've got to do it for a minute, and then
Okay,
you pass to
should
someone
I
else, they've got to do it for a minute.
Should I set a timer, or...
Yeah.
Yeah, I should set a timer. Okay.
Yes. I can't set a
think-
timer,
I
I'm
think
already
we
timing
should-
the podcast.
We should have who do we pass it to? I think we should just keep mental track. Oh, have I passed it? Has it been passed to this person times? Okay, I can't pass them. But don't like try and go in a calculated order.
Yeah.
Just pass it to whoever.
Mm.
I like the idea of it not being in an order, because then, like...
Yeah, you can pass to
we all
whatever
get a turn of fucking up someone else's go.
There's a strategy with it. It's not like...
Yeah.
Yeah. So, who wants to start is a question. Do we want to do a rock, paper, scissors?
Oh. You suck at rock, paper, scissors.
How dare you! It's all a game of luck, alright?
Alright.
Okay, wait, are we going on rock, paper, scissors, duh, or rock, paper, duh?
Rock, paper, scissors, duh.
What is this Britishism? Who says dirt?
I go duh as in, like, that's when you do it.
Yeah, but no one says dirt. We say shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I just say duh as in, like, you know, like a drum or something.
drum?
I don't fucking know. I don't know if that's a Britishism or just me.
See, British people, they go on, like, rock, paper, scissors. They go on
we
scissors.
go on scissors.
I do that usually, but I know people who do shoot, so I just shoot.
What is wrong with
Why would
both of you?
There's no gun in the game. That's cheating.
But there's no dirt in the dirt. Right?
On the contrary, there's rock.
That's not dirt. Isn't...
And I didn't say dirt, I said dur.
Dur.
I just made a noise.
Yeah, it's a dur.
Oh.
I just went rock, paper, nah. Which means, like,
Prepared.
you do whichever you pick. Anyway, are we going on scissors or after scissors? Because I want to go on scissors. I always go on scissors. God damn, alright. We need to get, like, a
Or
game
on
version.
second thought, you want to just, like, spin a wheel?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, alright, sounds good. Me, what did I spin for? Am I
That
going
means
first?
you're the anchor person. You go first.
I'm going first.
Yeah, you're the anchor person.
You want to see who? I don't like that.
Okay, wait. When are we starting? Because I got a thing.
You got a what?
You can't pre-plan. That's cheating.
oh, not plan. No, you have to record. It's like, okay, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, count it, and it makes more sense,
All right,
He's
can
not
I
counting
get?
from 10. Jesus Christ.
I was gonna say, can I
Yeah,
get
it's like 5.
both of your names so I know what the hell?
Oh, just
like,
use our normal ones.
Can I just use normal
Maybe you
ones?
can make up your call list on this. That's the point of it.
Yeah, but then how do we know who she's referring to?
Yeah.
Make the names better, but you can help what our names are.
But then how does like say it was you doing it? Then how do we know? Because
She's
we're
gonna
both
make both
females.
our names. Therefore, you're already gonna have an established name.
Yeah, but
Patricia
Well, her name could be what it goes to.
yeah, but then what about
and
her name?
Scott.
Who's gonna make up her name?
My name is the lion. Petunia.
Alright, fine, whatever. Alright, fine.
Dave.
Or well, no, her own.
Oh
Name.
no, she'll have
Silence
to make up her own name. 'cause
Petunia
it's like
and
family.
Dave.
She's gonna introduce herself.
I'm not called fucking Petunia, you dick. You're not calling me Petunia.
Petunia and Dave, you need to calm down. This is the news.
Alright.
This is a
I'm
competitive.
Dave.
No.
I called dibs on Dave.
Who are you for Dave? Because that's who's gonna be Dave. Who are you on Dave?
Whoever wants to take
She didn't
it,
say. She
whoever
just said the
wants-
two names, and I claim Dave, so I'm Dave.
Which one did you intend to be Dave?
Hey! Don't
I
assume my
also
gender. I'm Dave.
I also said Penelope, so take your pick.
I'll take Penelope. I'll be Penelope.
Okay, then I'll be Dave. You fucking.
Mm.
Alright, you're live. 5, 4, 3, 2, and go.
I'm running out of tea. Oh wait, what?
Draw.
Shoot, wait, okay. Breaking news tonight at 10 p.m. There has been a bunch of lizards loose in Central Park. People are adopting these giant lizard-like creatures. Some have been going under the sewage. We believe that this is becoming a new Spider-Man villain. Over to Petunia. Penelope, my bad.
I was gonna say, who the hell is Petunia? Thank you, George. Clearly drunk in the studio. Yeah, no, I'm reporting live from Central, wherever she said. And there are a shit ton of lizards over here. Excuse my French. We originally believed it was part of the conspiracy theory to do with the celebrities secretly being lizard people. We think they have bred, and these are all going to become new celebrities. Over there, we see a new Johnny Depp, and over in the corner over there, the Queen. The Queen has had another child. It looks adorable. We're gonna call him Scaly, and yeah. No, they're going into the sewers, and Spider-Man is apparently coming along, but we have a sneaking suspicion that he's actually just babysitting everyone, and some people are taking them home, like most celebrities do with kids that they find on foreign adventures. Gonna give it a really weird name. I think that one's gonna be called Sapphire, but that's more like a stripper name, and then that one over there is probably gonna be called... I don't know, what are we gonna call it? I think we should call it... Bookie McBookington, that's his name now. And we're just adopting all of these lizards, and it's gonna be great. And I'm not sure if that's a minute yet, but at any point I'm gonna be attacked by lizards. So I'm going to send this back over to the weatherman, who is reporting about the earthquake that has occurred in Barbados that has unearthed an entire village made up entirely of cheese. Over to Dave.
Alright, alright, folks. Pretty crazy weather coming in from Barbados. Earthquakes all over the place, ravished Barbados, and a interesting discovery was found that a village made entirely of unmolded cheese was discovered. And what's interesting about that cheese too is it's not a cheese typically found in Barbados. This is actually Swiss cheese, which, as everyone knows, is native to Switzerland. Personally, the going theory that I've proposed is that the tectonic plate shifting earthquake actually brought a Swedish landmark into Barbados. Now you might be asking yourself, well, how is that possible? Well, think about it. Tectonic plates are underneath the ground, correct? Where would a village of cheese be found? in Switzerland, underneath the ground in the cellars where they grow cheese and other assorted wildlife. So I pose this to you both in the studio and the viewers at home. Do I eat the cheese? And ultimately, whatever you say, I'm gonna eat it regardless. But I would enjoy your feedback, because if the cheese does end up killing me, and you said to eat the cheese, then I can blame you instead of myself. Anyway, I'm gonna send it back over to George, who is cowering in the washroom of the studio, I hear. George?
Okay, I am currently trapped in the washroom of the studio. Let me tell you this, it is not sanitized at all. I don't think the janitor cleans this place. We have an interview with the toilet we'll put on after 12. Riveting stuff, honestly. So what I've been told is they are looking for our weather reporter. Too bad he's in Barbados. I'm not sure why. We're in a worldwide pandemic, but it's fine. Oh, well, would you look at that? It's a bunch of Karens. That's fascinating. They're clawing their way. Oh, they're speaking to the manager. The manager's gone. Okay, alright, the manager's gone. Jimmy, you alive? Okay, he's dead. They got him. I think their small poodles have attacked him completely. Anyway,
R.I.P. Jimmy.
Before they take over this bathroom, I'm gonna give it over to Penelope, I think, who's going to report on the crisis going on in Las Vegas, where apparently Snoop Dogg has decided to meet the Queen.
What was it again, sorry?
I don't remember.
Well, I'm here in a place. I am so goddamn high right now. I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know what's happening. All I know is Snoop Dogg is in the building, and he has made some special request to a queen. Originally, we thought it was a drag queen, but he went, no, he wants to speak to the real queen, aka the fabulous Queen of England. In regards to that, we have yet to receive a response from the Queen, but then again, we did send the invitation by Royal Mail, and they are terrible at getting things there on time. So we'll be back to that in about 3 to 4 business days, aka next month. In regards to now, I would have a conversation with Snoop Dogg. However, he is high off his ass, and he's talking about producing some kind of show where the Queen ate gummy bears and had fucking yum-yums in her hair, and I'm not gonna lie, this sounds like really interesting stuff, but at the same time, I am really hungry, and there are some really delicious looking brownies over there, so I'm really, really tempted to just go and eat those, and I just think we should all just be friends, just enjoy life, because that's what life is about, and it's totally not because the fumes in here are so goddamn smoky, it's like a disco. It's more just, I think deep down, friendship is what makes the world go round, and that's just how I think. Anyway, moving on to different news, because I am way too stoned to continue this conversation. I'm going to pass it back to George, who is in the studio. I believe the Karens have been evicted by the police force. However, the reptiles from earlier have apparently eaten the Karens and morphed into a Karen-sized Godzilla, and I believe she's the one to report on that. So back to you, George.
Thank you. The bathroom door was unlocked. I am now reporting from the hand of the giant Godzilla. I believe that we are gonna get married. I am so happy with my Karen Godzilla wife. You have no idea. We're gonna have a spring wedding. She's gonna eat half of the guests. She's a real bridezilla, if you will. It's terrible. But I love her regardless. I massage her toes. She breaks my spine. Over, over to Dave, who is going to report on the weather in Antarctica.
Well, it's another cold ass day in fuck nowhere or Antarctica. What a surprise there. Who would have thought Antarctica is cold? We have a week of negative 50 degree weather, followed by a nice warm negative 45 degree Sunday. So if you're planning to get out in Antarctica and enjoy the sun, don't, because it's cold as fuck. That's that. It's getting into the spring season over in Antarctica, so if you wanted to observe penguins get slaughtered, you could always do that, or do whatever else people in Antarctica do. I don't know. Die of hypothermia. That's an event you could be getting on with. Or talk to your pal Dave, because our helicopter crashed here about a couple hours ago and no one's done anything. So you could talk to your pal Dave before he dies of hypothermia. That's something. That's an event. I'd mark it. I'd do it. I wouldn't miss the chance because I'm going to die. So better get on that opportunity. Just get on over here. You know what? I mean, even if you don't live in Antarctica, so yeah, I'm slipping over my words because given the hypothermia I'm suffering currently. But I'd just suggest anyone or anything to get over to Antarctica and help me because I'm stranded and my pilot has died. Back over to Penelope with some sports.
Yeah, no, I'm now dealing with the sports over here. We've got some new sports on the block. We've got chipmunk chess. It's a riveting thing. We've trained a ton of chipmunks to play chess, and then halfway through, depending on if they lose a chess piece, we eat them. And then we just replace it with another chipmunk. And so far we've gone through like 50 chipmunks. We played a lot of games of chess, and at the same time we've just been adding more chess pieces. They haven't noticed. The game is going great. We don't know who's won just yet. It's kind of gone from chess to checkers, but we're just having a right laugh. Meanwhile, over in football, there is a new player on the field. It's a cow. He wasn't supposed to be that, but he plays football like no one else, and I think they're looking at hiring him for the next World Cup. And if I've learned anything, it's don't judge things for what they are, but for what they can do. And if that cow wants to play football, then he's eating the football. All right. Okay, so I think he's going to go back to the steakhouse, but he had a good moment while he was at it, and it was a good game until the ball was gone, and apparently they don't have any spares. I think the Karen Godzilla took them all. I think she eats them as snacks, but I'm too busy high as shit with Snoop Dogg still, and I'm looking forward to the wedding between George and her beautiful fiance. I'm invited to the wedding, but Dave isn't. We weren't gonna tell him. We just think he's kind of annoying, to be honest. He's just there, and he only ever reports on the weather, and I mean, anyone can
We're
do
the reason
that,
his helicopter crashed.
Yeah,
My
we did
tears
plan
are
that.
freezing as we speak.
Shut up, Dave.
Fuck off.
Anyway, I'm gonna pass it back to Dave. Anyway, because I believe he's trying to call me with the response of "fuck you" in Morse code, but I'm just going to send him back a picture of me laughing my ass off whilst enjoying a champagne at the wedding of a Godzilla Karen. The place is perfect. She has gone to full extent with the manager, and me and Snoop Dogg are just fucking having a blast. So, fuck you, Dave. Over to you.
This week in working for the worst news network in the country, Penelope's a cunt. Fuck her. And you know what? Fuck George too. He's a right prick. And you know what? You know what I heard? I heard Karen Godzilla cheated on George. So you know what? Take that. I'm gonna air their dirty laundry on live television. Yeah. Have fun with that one. Hope the wedding reception goes great now, you fucks. Pilot's still dead, but hey, I'm out here swimming. Catching up the sun rays. Oh wait, there is no sun, because we're in Antarctica. It's a hellscape. What other news? Oh, if we look around to our left and right, we can see a lot of white. White and nothing else, because, again, we're in Antarctica. Well, what's new in Dave's life? Last month, my father died, so isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Top it off a great month with a great trip to Antarctica. Didn't leave anything in the will for me. Big surprise there. All went to fucking Susanna, my bitch of a stepsister. Her and her whore husband, Richard. That guy's a right fucking prick, too. I bet George and Richard would get along fine.
I think we're going to have to cut you off there, Dave, because we're reaching the end of our slot on TV, and no one cares about your problems.
Yeah, fuck you.
Back to you, George, in the office, cutting the cake for the first time. Would you like to make that a wrap for us?
Oh, that's half the tequila bottle. What?
We gotta wrap this up.
Right.
Me and Snoop Dogg gotta go chill with the queen. We're gonna snort crack off our cookies. It's gonna be great.
Yes. We're gonna join you for a honeymoon, but we're gonna pass by and make sure Dave is just outright dead. We're gonna take his corpse with us. It's gonna be beautiful, alright?
That's my wedding present to you, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm the motherfucker that signed off on him getting sent to Antarctica for no fucking reason.
I'm gonna have to go do my first dance or whatever it's called. I don't know, man. I'm sleeping with my secretary.
This place is lit.
And that was CBC News. Love is real. Dave is dead. Peace.
I don't know about
and
you,
that's
but
a wrap.
And that's
I wish that was fucking animated, because that would be hilarious. Oh my god, that was amazing.
If any of our 2 listeners wants to take a crack at animating that, that'd be great.
Oh my god. If I had the money, I'd just fucking hire someone. Anyway. That was breaking news. Everybody hates Dave. Poor Dave.
Oh, I feel bad for Dave.
You didn't feel bad for him when you were playing a character, did you, you fucks?
I had to stay in character.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to writing news with that. Scarlett, would you like to take the lead?
Ooh, writing news?
Yes.
Okay, so small updates on, I guess, 2 things we talked about in past podcasts. The first one being in the Grammys last night, because again we're recording this in March, and I believe the Grammys were yesterday.
We completely forgot to talk about World Book Day, by the way. That happened in March.
That World Book Day's in March?
Apparently.
Oh, we didn't have it on the calendar, so I wouldn't know.
Don't pay attention.
But Brandy.
We're a writing podcast. Not paying attention to World Book Day.
We are?
Well, technically.
In yeah. Anyway.
Technical terms.
But yeah, no, Brandy Carlisle,
Carlisle, probably.
Carlisle?
Yeah.
Carlisle.
She is a recording artist, and she said that during quarantine she managed to write an entire novel. So good on her.
So did we.
Yeah, well, so did we. I think we literally talked about in our first podcast that writers just like write during quarantine, or they don't. It's here or there. And as for an update on Bridgerton, I watched a video of this English major reading the first Bridgerton novel, The Duke and I believe it was called, and some things people should know before going into it, because we didn't know any of this stuff, and after hearing about this stuff we kind of don't want to read it. Personally, I don't. But
no, I don't either.
First
of
all,
it was a shit book, so I was like, alright, never mind then.
So the first thing is while there's they input like race into the show, pretty much all the characters in the novel are white. Every single one of them.
To be honest, that makes sense to the era anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then I believe there was a racist comment being made in it. Yeah. I also believe there is a sexual assault, if you will.
Yeah, the
hard
the girl
R.
upright. It's the guy.
Yeah, a hard R. The girl.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name? No. Oh, what's her name?
Daphne.
Yeah, Daphne does that to the Duke while he's drunk and half asleep. So
And as anyone who has watched the Bridgerton series is aware, he does not want kids.
yeah, she just decides, screw you, you're gonna give me kids.
Yeah.
Which don't. And then I know the writing wasn't really that good halfway through. Like, it started off pretty decent and then it sort of lagged on. And so yeah, just be aware of that.
I think I also saw another person talking about it and how literally all of the Bridgerton books are pretty much the same cut and paste story. So you have like the meet cute and then something goes wrong and then
Yeah.
yada yada yada.
I mean, isn't that most romances though?
It shouldn't be.
That's true.
Certainly not in a fucking series.
That's
In
true.
a series, something different should happen each time. I know something does in ours, and ours is like, at the rate we're looking at it, it's a series of fucking series. It just keeps getting bigger. But yeah, no, it's one of those where like apparently the books aren't that good either, which makes me curious why they decided to turn it into a series. But
I know also like the main character Daphne or whatever, she like hit a dude like multiple times. Take that as you will. I don't know, she just sucker punches people.
You know, if it's called upon like it was in the TV series,
Yeah.
then fair. But if it's just her punching people for the sake of punching people, it's like, no.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think I'm gonna read it. You don't think you're gonna read it.
No.
I don't think Matt's gonna read it because it's not really his thing.
I don't
know what Bridgerton is, so no, I'm not gonna read it.
It's a story about some chick that really wants to fuck a guy that does not want kids.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound like my type thing.
But yeah, so that was the update on that. We said that we'd be tempted to read it to see if it got any more in depth, and we have since changed our opinion on that.
Yep.
But in regards to the first thing you said about writing through quarantine, one of the topics I wanted to talk about was how reading levels have been affected by quarantine.
Yeah.
Because I know that we talked about in, I think it was our first podcast, how the writing world has been affected.
Yeah.
And in a way it's been boosted because a lot of people have started reading whilst they were in quarantine, or they've been writing whilst in quarantine, and it's been a good reason to kind of catch up on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But on the downside, what with the closing of schools and stuff, a lot of children have actually had less chance at learning the reading skill because obviously they've not been in schools and they've not had that constant kind of like tutoring and people coming in and reading to them.
Yeah.
And apparently it's dropped by 25% in primary years, the affected reading levels.
Mm.
So it's taken a hit. And one of the things that a lot of schools and parents as well are worried about is obviously reading is like a fundamental skill, especially in education. Like, if you struggle with reading, you're going to struggle with the whole damn thing because a lot of it is in books. And one of the things a lot of people worry about, especially kids actually, is their reading levels. And like, because you know how you always have those situations where teachers would call on you to read out in class?
Yeah.
Like, that causes a lot of anxiety for some people, especially if you're not that strong or competent of a reader.
Mm.
I know, even though I tend to come across as quite competent in that level, when it comes to me reading stuff out loud, I fuck up all the time and I hate it. So it's one of those where hearing that that's gone down is kind of worrying a lot of people. And one of the things that they're looking at doing, I know that there's I think it was a charity called School Readers, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it's looking at putting more volunteers into schools to read to children. Definitely looking at getting people on like calls with children and reading to them then.
Mm-hmm.
Just having that kind of like communication between them.
Yeah.
And while I was looking into this, kind of makes me, I don't know, feel like helping out in that sense. Like, I don't know, maybe you could donate books to schools or like to other families.
Yeah.
Alternatively, if in your country the restrictions are going up, I know for the UK, schools are going back into, I don't know what you call it, they're opening up again.
Yeah.
I can't remember when because I'm not in school nor have been for a long time, but but I know that like they'll be looking at getting like volunteers in and stuff, and especially at libraries, public libraries especially.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, actually, I did see a report that there was a drag queen that reads to preschoolers at a library. I don't know which one, but I do know that the drag queen was called Little Miss Hot Mess, and I thought that was adorable.
Aww.
And it's kind of sad to hear that they get a lot of backlash for that, because if anything, that is like props to them. If anyone's got the kind of like charisma for a child, it's a drag queen. But yeah, no. Support your local libraries, support that. Do what you can.
Yeah. I know the library near me has first of all, kids here in Canada, at least in Toronto, they start going to school. Middle schoolers and high schoolers are also in school. I'm not, but as for the libraries, I know there's at least the library that I got the current book that I should be reading, but I'm not. It had little, what are they called, Matthew? They were like little
paper bags.
Yeah.
And like they're sorted by like they have a bunch of different sorting things. So they're sorted by genre, sorted by age group, sorted by letter, sorted by author, and
and they had them all like displayed at the front-ish, and so I might look into doing that.
It's an interesting thing, but speaking of siblings and stuff, if you have really young siblings, and like you, Matt, Jesus Christ, start reading to them, you dick.
Bold assumption that I can read, let alone read to another group.
But yeah, no, like try and do your bit if you can.
Yeah. Do we want to go to another kind of heavier topic?
Which one do you want to go to?
That's what I'm saying, because like there's a funny topic, and then there's a not so funny topic.
We'll do the funny one, and then we'll go to the not so funny one, and then we'll round it off.
All right. In that case, Hillary Clinton is either writing or has written a book. There's like multiple articles. Some say that she's written it, and others say that she is going to write it. So I have no idea which one's true. But yeah, no, she wrote a novel with Canadian crime author Louis Penny, and apparently the novel is called State of Terror, and the synopsis that this article gives is the novel's protagonist has joined the administration of her rival, a president inaugurated after 4 years of American leadership that shrank from the world stage. It features a series of terrorist attacks which throws the global order into disarray, and the secretary is tasked with assembling a team to unravel the deadly conspiracy. I was doing quotations for that. And funnily,
I believe, yeah, I heard you read that and we both agreed it's just she's written a fan fiction for herself.
And the funny thing is, like, her husband also wrote a novel, like Bill Clinton. He teamed up with James Patterson for The President is Missing, a thriller about a president forced to go off-grid for his own safety. So,
That was just a fan fiction.
Yeah, I think they just want fan fiction written about themselves. So I'm like, is there really no one writing Hillary Clinton fan fiction? So I went on Archive of Our Own, as you
Pretty
do.
sure it's the rule of 69, isn't it?
Exactly. These are my search results. I put nothing except Hillary Clinton, and it's sorted by best match descending. Donald Trump x Hillary Clinton came out in November 2016, and a Hillary and Donald Lemon x, meaning for 18 plus. There is a lot of details in this story.
Oh, God.
Right. And then there's, do you order someone to kill Seth Rich Hillary Clinton? ? And the tags under the video is Hillary Clinton x Sasha Grey. Sasha makes the necessary question for her mistress, Hillary Clinton. In the tags, there is, I don't think I'm allowed to say what's in the tags.
Leave it a mystery. Find out for yourself.
There's even like a recent one from 2020, which is The Last Winter.
Well, that one sounds quite dramatic.
Yeah. Hillary goes home for the holidays to deal and come to terms with the adversity she has faced and to reconnect with her childhood home. Along the way, she runs into a childhood friend, Bill Clinton, who she hasn't seen in 28 years. This is 16 chapters out of God knows how many.
Childhood friend. Sure.
Poker face. Hillary Clinton prepares Bill for his trip to North Korea, set in 2009.
Pretty sure that's just Lady Gaga song, isn't it?
Yeah. So, they have a plethora of fanfictions to pick from. They don't need to write their own. Just saying.
They just weren't satisfied. Fanfic has got up their game. I'm sorry. Anyway, on to the last one.
Last one?
Yeah.
Alright, well, Dr. Seuss has been in some troubling waters where 6 titles are cancelled for racist imagery. And the 6 titles were And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street, If I Ran the Zoo, McElligot's Pool, On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Eggs Super, and The Cat's Quizzer. And
I've only heard of one of them, which was If I Ran the Zoo, and I don't think I actually read it.
So, like, the only thing this article really says as to, like, why they were racist is there's depiction of racist image of a Asian person in And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street. And then pretty bad portrayal picture image of an African man in If I Ran the Zoo. And yeah, I think
there's been a lot of like controversy over it because obviously Dr. Seuss is like a house name at this point. But at the same time, it's books that a lot of people haven't read. Like, they're not the staples of a Dr. Seuss story. They're just like some of the ones he's done. And I think I don't know if they're earlier on or later ones, but they're not the staples, and the main ones aren't being taken away because like they're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But I think what people don't remember is the fact that Dr. Seuss was like quite a propaganda person when he was writing, because he made like comics for a lot of political issues.
Well, not so much comics, but I do know that he made like advertisements and he made propaganda for the U.S. military, and a lot of that stuff is very touchy. It's not definitely not very up with the times.
Mhm.
It's not nice to Japanese people, given America was very anti-Japan at the time. But another thing people have to remember is even these books that are being canceled, they were written at a time when the things they're being canceled for were not an outrage. Like I agree they maybe they're a
I think he
bit.
was quite secretive as well, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he was very secretive. He had lots of different many different just personas of himself and ways he viewed himself that he just didn't show to the public.
I'm pretty sure there was like a lot of doppelgangers as well, like people coming out saying like I am Dr. Zeus, and they weren't actually Dr. Zeus. But I think that's just because I saw that on a documentary a while ago. But yeah, it's one of them where the main ones aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, because I know Amazon and eBay has blacklisted the novels that I just listed, and then I think Amazon has just like completely stripped them from their catalog, I guess you can
Yeah.
say.
And to be honest, they're not getting wiped off the face of the earth. Like, no one's going to break into your home and take them away from you if you have them.
Yeah. They say that like apparently he has lost a bit of money. He's lost
Pretty sure he's dead, isn't he?
Well, the company. Yeah, he is dead, but the company Dr. Seuss Enterprises, I believe they were called, they lost because they had to take off those books.
Well, yeah, they'd no longer be getting royalties or anything.
Yeah, they pretty much lost $2,000, which, I mean...
It's not nearly as much as they would have lost making those films that they did.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not... So everyone's making a huge deal of it, and like, we're hearing it a lot, but at the same time, it's not a huge problem. As I said, the books still exist. They've not been wiped out of our memories. Like, they're still there, but like, it's trying to be more kind of thoughtful towards the fact that that is a bad part of our history.
Yeah.
And we're trying to like make it better for our future. And considering Dr. Zeus is known for kids' books,
Yeah.
having those kind of connotations in kids' books probably isn't the best.
Yeah, slightly.
But yeah, so it's one of them. Anyway, shall we wrap this up?
Yep, let's wrap it up.
Alright, so a book we would read and avoid at all cost?
Oof.
Matt, would you like to start first, seeing as you were really quick to think of one when we asked you?
Yeah.
For a book I'd recommend, I'd probably say Die When We Kid, Roger Gruel's 2. Or not Roger Gruel's 2. I'd probably recommend Die When We Kid, Roger Gruel's. It's not a very challenging book by any means. I don't think it's gonna make you think hard about the themes within the book, but it's a funny light read that you could just sit down and thumb through and look at the drawings and just sort of enjoy yourself. It's a good book. I mean, for my reading level, but I think it's a good break from the seriousness of the world. So, and for something I wouldn't recommend, any sort of fan fiction involving a president or a political candidate.
That's a first shout.
Steer clear of them.
We're gonna get attacked by fan fiction writers now.
Oh, probably.
Pretty sure that's your friend, isn't it? We're already getting attacked. A book I would suggest reading with a kind of an alright sibling dynamic would be the Iron Fey series. It's kind of one of those where some people don't like it. I kind of enjoyed them, and I read through most of them. But there is a sibling dynamic in it, in that she goes to like... It's kind of like a labyrinth situation. I'm not sure if you've watched that film.
Yeah.
Where she goes to save the younger sibling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend that. And also there's a new series that's been like extended onto it, which was... I'm not sure if the whole series takes place in his perspective, but that's the younger brother's perspective, and seeing how the actions of his older sister kind of affected him, which makes for an interesting kind of story. And actually I was kind of interested in the follow-on. I just never got back into reading to continue it. But we're going to try and get back into reading. As for something I'd avoid, this is a bit out of place considering we normally do books, but I just would avoid the Divergent films. They're crap.
There was a sibling dynamic there.
Yeah, I've read the first book and I kind of enjoyed the first book. I didn't hate it. It wasn't terrible, and at the same time, it wasn't amazing or mind blowing. But it was enjoyable for what it was. I haven't read any of the others though, and from what I've heard of friends, the others are crap. So yeah, but I didn't like the films. The films missed out half of the points of the books, and just.
I mean, on your thing of like Divergent, because I know I was pretty into reading when the Divergent films came out, and the two siblings that played, who played the brother and the sister and the main character, whatever. They also did The Fault in Our Stars together, where they were lovers. Yeah. So it was a whole controversy of like, is this incest? would you?
This feels weird.
These two actors were playing siblings, and now they're romantically involved. Does that not fuck with your brain at all? I don't know. But a book I recommend is Blood Red Road. I don't remember who it's by, but that has again an interesting sibling dynamic of a weird brother bear like dynamic, I guess, of you gotta take care of a younger like child, so doing that.
And another fun film to watch would be Brother Bear for siblings.
Yeah, I completely recommend it.
It's also got good music, and I really like the moose.
I watched it, and it was like I didn't pick up on it, probably because I watched it with a Bulgarian dubbing. But like I watched it, now I'm like, these meese are literally Canadian. They're a Canadian stereotype. Are they not meese? Mooses?
Mooses.
Mice?
No, mice is a completely different thing.
But
you did
yeah,
the whole, like, if a goose is geese, surely a moose is meese.
Yeah, it's how I've been taught. It's meese, isn't it?
We just call them mooses.
Mooses? Wait, Matthew, is it mooses?
I'm pretty sure the plural for moose is just moose. Though it should be meese. I agree. I want to call a group of moose meese, but the plural is just
meese. But yeah, and then to avoid A Court in Thorns and Roses, because wasn't that great to begin with. Kind of boring. That's just me though. But at the same time, the sibling dynamic, they literally, why were they there? They serve no purpose to the plot. And whoever is like, oh, but she missed them, and I'm like, okay, but that was like a little side adventure for no reason because it was in Beauty and the Beast.
I mean, I'm avoiding that book for other reasons.
For the sex scenes?
Well, that, because for some reason Sarah J. Maas has just become weirdly into having sex scenes that appear out of nowhere for no fucking reason. I mean, like, I don't mind reading a sex scene now and then so long as it's warranted. Like, when they just kind of... I think it was, it happened in Throne of Glass, one of the...
Yeah.
I think it was like the second to last one. Like, they literally just been in a naval battle and then the next scene is them fucking on a beach. And I'm there like,
I watch Cindy Read with Cindy or something along those lines. Pretty good YouTuber. She's hilarious. But she read the entirety of 3 or 4 books in the Court of Thorns and Roses, series and stuff like that. And in one of them, the main character was giving a favor, if you will, in the tent in the middle of a battle. Yes, a favor. In the middle of just like this gritty battle outside where people are dying, and I'm just like...
Anyway, to fully wrap this up then, an inspiring or uplifting quote. I'd say every sibling's different. If you're gonna write a sibling, go with what feels natural. Don't just throw them in there for the sake of having them there. And also, love your siblings. They're awesome. When they're not dicks.
When they're not selfish bastards, yes.
Yeah. Matt, you gotta throw one in as well.
Wait, what?
An inspiring or uplifting quote.
I guess I would say that to just not stay mad at the siblings in your life. I know it can seem like they're the worst people in the world, or adversely, I'm sure it can seem like you're the world to them, but it's, at the end of the day, your sibling will always hold a relationship that no one else in the world will ever have to you, and that relationship is very special,
Yeah.
and you're always going to have them to go to, and they're always going to love you, hopefully, ideally. um so I would say just don't take that for granted, you know. Treat your siblings how you would want to be treated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some siblings are actually dicks, but that's a different story.
Look on the bright side, you bastard, before I throw a mug at you.
Good try. I'm like a different continent, so.
Yeah, I have such strong arm. What am I? I don't. Matthew, sport person. What do I have?
She has arms.
Throwing power.
Anyway, that was the Have a Cuppa podcast for April.
Yeah.
Hope you all enjoyed. I finished my tea.
Yeah, no, I finished mine.
It actually lasted me.
I finished mine ages ago. I've just been sitting in a cup. Be sure to comment on this that you really loved me more than the host already, and I'll take over.
Yeah, otherwise we're never inviting him back again.
Or if you didn't like me, also comment saying that you hated me, and I won't come back.
Oh. We enjoyed having you, buddy.
Yeah, it's been alright.
Well, we're gonna let the audience decide.
Depends on if we have an audience yet.
There will be once they hear me.
Anyway, it's been a fun podcast.
Bye-bye.
And we shall see you all next month.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.